Welcome to Ranking Idaho's Governor's Republican Primary Tier List. We are going to be ranking all of these candidates based on the rhetoric that they present and the videos that I will show later on. So first of all, we're going to go through the candidates. There's Cody Uzabel.
Hello, Idaho constituents. I'd like to share a bit about myself and my family. I'm a fourth-generation Idahoan. I grew up on a family farm in Marsing and attended Marsing schools K-12.
There's Brad Little.
I'm Brad Little. As a conservative, I know that government is best when it does the least.
There's Lisa Marie.
My name is Lisa Marie. I'm running for governor.
There's Janice McGeechan. There's Ed Humphreys.
Ed Humphreys is fiery, bold, and exceptionally competent.
And then there's Ashley Jackson. And here's the criteria by which I'll be grading their rhetoric on. Their relatability, that is strong for rhetoric. Their ethos, pathos, and logos, all of which, the more that they use in the video, the more it boosts their rhetoric a lot. These are really, really big ones that we'll look out for. The fallacies, which will be beneficial towards them because to an unsuspecting audience, fallacies can be successful. We'll see if they're doing a good job hitting their audience, which are Idaho constituents. And then we'll look at if they have any extreme viewpoints or exaggerations. And if they do, it will hurt their case. So starting off, we have Cody Uzabel. I'm ranking Cody as D tier. So Cody is D tier because first of all, his video isn't very professional, which hurts his case as a governor. It does help his case as an average Joe. So this does help him when he appeals to the plain folk fallacy. However, this isn't very beneficial for spewing rhetoric. Very relatable. His video discusses a lot about the things that he's done in Idaho. His credibility, he's a true Idahoan through and through. However, he doesn't have a lot of credibility as a governor. He doesn't have a lot of emotion in this video, and he doesn't really have a lot of logic and a lot of reasons why. He's mainly just explaining about himself. He doesn't really use any fallacies just besides the plain folk fallacy. His audience is dead on with just being Idaho constituents. And I don't know, he just doesn't really make an emotional connection, and I find it hard to continue watching the video. We're moving forward to C tier, and the first candidate for C tier is Ashley Jackson. So I placed Ashley Jackson here for a couple reasons. I do feel like she seemed a little bit more open-minded, which helped her case a little bit, and that's why she's a little bit above Cody. She was pretty relatable. She didn't have a lot of credibility in the video besides credibility as a true Idahoan. She did use a lot more emotion. There was this one part in particular where she used humor.
I'd like to pay lower taxes, especially if you just filed them,
which was beneficial to her rhetoric. She didn't really use like a lot of logic and a lot of facts. She did appeal to the same plain folk fallacy as Cody did, and her audience did seem to be directed towards a younger audience, hence why she was using the TikTok platform, which I don't think is very beneficial towards her case as being governor of Idaho, because that's mainly going to affect older people. And she didn't really have any extreme viewpoints or exaggerations, so I think overall she's pretty average. Her rhetoric goes in C tier. We have B tier, and the first person to go into B tier is Lisa Marie.
And I'm saying that our children come first. Love our children first. Idaho children for governor.
So Lisa's rhetoric is excellent in her video. She does a great job at destroying others' credibility.
I have not spent any money on any posted signs. This year, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask every elected official, instead of printing your own signs, print the signs of the children that are missing.
However, her own professionalism and credibility are lacking. There's no music to help the emotion or to help the audience feel emotion, and there's a general drive to just kind of stop watching the video. The name of the game is to convince the viewer, but they can't be convinced if they don't even watch the video. I liked hers because she had a lot of emotion. She had a little bit of logic. She just didn't have a lot of credibility, and her audience didn't seem to be directed more towards Idahoans, which is harmful because if it's not directed towards the people that are going to vote you in, then your rhetoric isn't nearly as useful. And next up in B tier as well is going to be Ed Humphries.
It is time to say enough is enough. Ed Humphries will bring that fiery ruby red flame back to Idaho. We've had enough of state income taxes. We've had enough of property taxes.
Ed has the first high quality video. He uses a lot of relatability in his video by his choice of the Jeep, Corvette, and the Ford Ranger, which if you don't live in Idaho, those are all very, very common and popular cars in Idaho. A moderate amount of emotion and just a little bit of connection to the audience. And he is good at bolstering his credibility by saying he's not a career politician. Ed also uses another rhetorical fallacy that isn't seen a lot, which is the ad populum. Basically what this is, oh, because everybody's doing it, you should do it too. And he's showing this by when all the people are, driving around in their fancy cars. It's like, oh, we support Ed and we're driving around in fancy cars and there's a lot of us, so you should too. So next up, which is A tier, is going to be Janice McGeechin.
We recognize that all of us are by nature free and equal and have certain inalienable rights, among which are enjoying and defending life and liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and pursuing happiness and securing safety.
Although Janice's video quality is a little bit worse, it is made up for by her rhetoric. She cites the Constitution the entire time, and she relates hugely to the audience with the Bible and the gun. She holds a strong title, which boosts her credibility, and her title is Lieutenant Governor, and she was able to make herself stand out and spread her name. She was only shy of S tier because she could have appealed more to emotion. She did have a lot of logic, though. She had a lot of relatability, and she had a powerful message. Even though a lot of people might not agree with it, it was still powerful. It got its point across. Last but not least is going to be S tier, which is occupied by Brad Little.
That's why I took my chainsaw to state regulations. Cutting government red tape by 95%. Making Idaho the least regulated state in America and creating thousands of good-paying jobs. Now Idaho's economy is booming because we cut government down to size. But we are just getting started.
Brad deserves this spot at S tier. He appears as strong, confident, and ready to win. Poses very relatable to Idahoans because most of us own a chainsaw, and creates a strong metaphor for what he plans to do in office, which is cut down government. This message he presents is the essence of rhetoric itself. He uses every tool in his belt to convince his audience that he is the best candidate. His video creates empowerment, and the music inspires the listener to believe in him. His message was easy to follow, and he was an awe to listen to. I believe that Brad Little had the strongest rhetoric out of everybody, and that is why I placed him at S tier. Alright, starting to wrap things up. I think all of our candidates did a decent job at showing at least some rhetoric. D tier, of course, having Cody not having very strong rhetoric. C tier having Ashley, who had moderate rhetoric. B tier having Lisa and Ed, who both had decent rhetoric. A tier having Janice, who had pretty strong rhetoric, and then S tier having Brad, who had the strongest rhetoric of all. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me rank all of the Republican government primary candidates.